Good Mom and Monday.
You're here at the Mistake Mama podcast. I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Mandee.
And we are your hosts. This week on the podcast, we're going to be talking about day trips, specifically day trips with young kids. I do want to preface this by saying that Mandee's cold that she had has now infected me. So,
sorry.
If you can hear the nasaliness, I apologize very much ahead of time. And I will do the best I can to make sure you're not hearing coughs and sniffles. So let me just... There, we're good.
Get that out of the way.
But first, our wins, our fails, and our books.
Yes.
I got my tea this morning. Hopefully that's going to help me out.
Loosen things up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm drinking a spiced chai today. And it's good. It's been a little while since I've had a spiced chai.
Yum.
I don't think I left it in quite long enough, though.
Oh.
I should have left it in just a little bit longer, but it's all good.
But then too long is really gross.
Yeah. Thankfully, this is actually one of those ones that even if I leave it in there and never take it out, it doesn't really...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it doesn't end up tasting gross or anything.
I like my tea pretty strong, but then if I leave it in there, then the bottom, fourth of my cup is just like, oh, that's a little too much.
I can get that, yeah.
I'm just drinking coffee.
Just drinking normal coffee.
Okay, wins, fails. Well, my win and fail are related to the topic.
So maybe I'll go first, and then we'll kind of go into there. Or let's actually start with our books, so that we can get the least relevant out of the way. I finished Twilight. I'm on to New Moon.
Nice.
I'm doing that whole situation.
I'm still on Abrat, but I just read and finished.
Oh? A separate book?
Yes. What? Oh my god. The title just went out of my head.
Gone. Poof. What did you read?
Oh my god. It's the Mike Sorrentino,
no idea.
Mike the Situation from Jersey Shore. He wrote a book.
I don't watch that show.
Remember how
She's
I talk about I
in
like
me.
my raunchy reality? Okay. Well, it's Mike the Situation. I'm sure many people listening.
Oh, I'm sure.
Know who this guy is.
It's just not
He's
me.
the guy. Okay. Have you seen anything about it? Any like commercials growing up? Anything?
Like sometimes I would have seen like, the preview or commercial for it, I guess.
Guy who lifts up his shirt and shows his abs.
Nope.
Okay.
Not ringing a bell.
Let me pull him up because I need
Or
you
I
to
like,
see the guy.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Okay. The book is called Reality Check.
Reality Check. Cool.
Anyway, it's his tale of like going his battle through drugs and addiction and how he got through it and how he is where he is now. And
Gotcha.
it was a really good read. Michael and I watched that show.
I never did.
And they have Jersey Shore family reunion now, or family vacation.
Gotcha.
And so we watched that.
Oh,
so
very cool. So you read the book.
That came from. So I read the book, finished it. Cool. It was only like 200 pages, I think, but it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it, and it makes me want to rewatch the show because you would have. I mean, I guess looking back, you kind of would have guessed that he was on drugs, but not really. And he, spoiler alert, if anybody's gonna read this, but he also talks about how he told MTV like. They started to go with that storyline that he's like a drug addict and stuff, and he was like, absolutely not, you're not going to put that out there, and they've listened, I guess, which is rare for a reality TV show to not do that, but yeah, so it's now I just want to go back and be like, see if I can see the things that he talked about in his book.
That's kind of how I felt when I read the Jeanette McCurdy memoir thing that she did.
Yeah, so I am still reading the Abrat though. That is taking me a while.
Are you just like not enjoying it to the extent that like you had hoped you would? Because you tend to be a relatively fast reader.
It's not really my genre. And I'm reading it for the sole fact that Michael loves the book.
Right. This is the series that Michael likes. Right.
So I'm reading it so that we have some common ground on a book that we can talk about.
Right. Thomas has asked me to read his favorite series, which is not The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Because that's a movie, although they might have a book.
I thought you were going to say The Sorcerer's Stone, so
no.
I'm out.
I don't know what it is off the top of my head. The Ranger's Apprentice.
Oh, okay. Never heard of it.
They're like late teen, young adult age group. And they're like fantasy sort of.
Okay.
They're definitely not my style at all. They have no romance or anything like
how
that.
this one
And
is,
so, yeah, he's asked me if I want to read it, and I'm like, I mean, maybe someday.
How many books is it?
There's a lot. There
Oh.
he hasn't read all of them, but I'm pretty sure there's like 10 or 11.
That's a lot of books too. I read through that you aren't.
That's a lot of books. But he loves
these
them.
3 books are a challenge for me.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'll read your series if you read one of mine. Guarantee you mine's got less pages than yours. And he's like, I don't think I can. I'm like, okay.
Well, I don't think I can either.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, because I'm like, how about you read like the Twilight books or something? Because that's also like young adult.
Yeah.
I'm like, then we're at least
Fair
reading within the
exchange.
same whatever. And he's like, but I don't like those books. I'm like, no shit.
I don't like yours either.
I'm like, the books are better than the movie if that's what your issue is. And he's like, books are never better. Sir.
Excuse me.
I mean, I had that same thought when I was a teenager, or like a young teenager, I guess, before I really got into reading.
Yeah.
I would argue that like, well, no, movies are better because there's more detail because you can physically see it. Which, I mean, the logic makes sense to a degree.
You have to put less thought into it because somebody has already shown you the images.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then now that I am a reader, I very much prefer books. You can put way more into it in less time.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why movies often are missing details and stuff. It's because there's just not enough time to put it all in there.
Yeah.
Is what it is. That's why it's better when certain things become TV series. Because then you can include more, like the Game of Thrones. Imagine if they tried to do that in movies.
Or even Vampire Diaries. I haven't read the books, but
same.
I've heard that the Vampire Diaries series, like people are really grateful that they made them into a series versus movies. Which I did hear that they kind of like, this is off topic. I did hear that they steered away from the books a little bit.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think most
it's been
series do a
long
bit.
time since I've read the books, so I don't.
I would like to read them eventually, but I feel like once you are into a series visually, like on the TV, it's really hard to go back and read the books.
It is, especially if they veer off. Mm-hmm. Because you expect one thing to happen and then something else entirely happens.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know if I prefer this or not.
Right.
Like in My Sister's Keeper. The ending of that book.
I don't think I've read that book. I've seen the movie.
Is not even remotely close to being the same as the ending of the movie.
Oh. Wins Fails.
Wins Fails. Fails were sick.
Fair
It's
fail.
fantastic. And Ellie, it seems to be, she was looking like she was going to be the best. Her and Damon, because Damon still hasn't caught it, or at least isn't having any major symptoms at all.
Yeah.
Like, he's not even sniffly. Me, I'm having the I need to sneeze sensation, but it's not going to come.
Yeah.
I will be impressed if it does. I don't know if you can see it on my
That's
face.
the worst feeling. I can see it in real life.
Yeah. My eyes are starting to water. But it's not going to come. Oh, no. See, now it's passing and it's going to go away. Anyways, we're all sick. Ellie was looking like she was going to be fine. Anna has like a stuffy nose and a very mild cough. Like she doesn't even cough at night. It's like an occasional and then she's fine.
Kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. But Ellie at like 3 a.m. just was like, I'm going to have the worst night of my life. Woke up with like that super raspy type breathing. A super wet, just scratchy cough.
Yep.
Very like, she could not breathe. Her eyes were just like super watery. She's like nose running everywhere. And I'm just like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And so I tried propping her up, but like she wasn't happy and she kept being like, milp, milp, which is how she says milk. But like whenever she would nurse, she couldn't breathe.
Yep.
And so she'd like nurse, nurse, nurse. pop off to breathe, and then she'd try to get back on, and then she'd be like suffocating, and she'd just start crying and screaming. And what's my husband doing? Sleeping.
Of course.
He worked yesterday and he works tonight, so I mean,
he gets a pass.
He gets a pass.
I guess.
That's
the worst, when they can't breathe and they're trying to nurse, and then they try to nose breathe.
Yeah.
But then it's just like snot is just like pouring out on your boob, and they're still like, then they're drowning in snot. Yeah.
And it's just like stuck to your boob, and you're like, this is great.
Like, love that.
And I can't shower right now.
Yep.
Cool. Let me just grab a tissue and just clean myself up.
Yeah.
And then 20 minutes later, they're doing it again. Ugh.
Joy.
But yeah, and so we like turned a show on for her, and because she just like could not sleep. She'd fall asleep and then she'd wake up and repeat the cycle.
Yeah. That's no fun.
No.
Again, I apologize.
It's all your fault, Mandy.
All my fault.
And I can't fucking find our humidifier.
Oh no.
To save my life.
Do you want to take mine home?
Maybe.
It's fine. It's in that closet.
I might. Because
behind you guys, it's in that closet over there.
Behind the TV. So, that's my fail. In addition to that, Damon has regressed a bit.
Ugh. That's so hard.
It's not drastically, and I think it's not as much of a regression as it is that I don't know if he's just like not perceiving that he needs to pee until the moment he is literally about to pee himself.
That's what Michael. That's what my husband does. No, that's what Maverick does. It's like all of a sudden he's like, I have to pee, and then he pees.
Yep. And so me by myself feeling like shit yesterday while trying to trying to edit the gift podcast, which took so much, and the kids being just fine enough to yell at each other. I'm sitting there having to clean the bathroom floor. I cleaned it like 10 times yesterday. On top of not feeling good.
That's the worst.
And my mom kept being like, just text me if you need me. And I'm like, I'm okay. I don't want to make you come here.
Oh, you should have said I need you.
Suffering. Well, it's like the first day off she's taken in a while.
Oh,
and so I was like, I don't want to steal your day off.
Yeah, fair.
But I was like hating my life.
Yeah.
That and I had like a sinus headache yesterday. And because it was the gifts episode and I was editing it in the living room, I had to wear headphones.
Oh, right.
I have no wins. Actually, I can give one. My kids really enjoyed Polar Express.
Oh.
I turned it on yesterday. We only watch it like once, maybe twice a year during the Christmas season, depending on if they become obsessed with it.
Right.
But I turned it on yesterday so I could edit, and all 3 of them sat there for the entire duration of the movie just staring at the screen. And I'm like, okay.
Nice.
I will take this win right here. And so that's, I guess, my win, is that the entire duration of Polar Express
was watched.
Nice. No issues. Damon got up and peed like once in the middle of it, and then they were happy. No arguments, no nothing. And they argue a lot while watching TV.
Oh.
They like get up all in each other's faces and shit. But Polar Express was my win for yesterday.
Nice.
It didn't last beyond that, though.
So about. We had it on, but after probably about 20 minutes in, he was playing in the living room, and then he would look up every once in a while.
Oh yeah, no, that was not the case with my kids. My kids were like, I'm gonna watch this movie.
Nice.
The rest of the day didn't go that smoothly.
Right.
But
you gotta take your wins, though.
That like hour and a half did.
Yeah.
Am I going to attempt to utilize it again? Yes. Is it going to work nearly as well? Probably not.
They've already seen it.
Maybe we'll wait a couple days and then try again.
Yeah.
Because they've watched The Grinch and now Polar Express. We still need to watch the Tim Allen Santa Clauses. And,
oh, yeah. We need to watch those, too.
And then on Christmas Eve, we'll watch all the classics.
Well,
your win and fail, which is related. And so we'll just kind of roll right into the actual topic with this as well.
So we went to Washington yesterday for my mom's side of the family's Christmas get together. They live about 4.5 hours away, give or take with traffic. and they're on the eastern Washington side.
Oh, okay.
And we decided to make it into a day trip because to get a hotel room just so you don't have to make it a day trip is just, it's a long drive, but it's not quite long enough to not do it in a day trip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it had been like 8 hours total or 9 hours total one way, then yeah, we would have just stayed the night. But 4.5 hours, whatever. So we planned on leaving between 4 and 5 a.m. That was the goal. I gave myself a wide range, okay, for hiccups because it's early. We didn't leave till 5:10. So we left past the goal, but
not super far past.
Yeah.
Could have been 7.
Yeah, it could have been.
Your inflection there makes it sound like you almost wish it was.
So we have 2 dogs I've mentioned on here.
Oh,
and
no.
they can't stay home like all that time by themselves. But we also didn't want to take them because then they're in the car for all that time and whatever. And so Val, Michael's grandma, was going to come in and check on them, and that's fine. We got all the way like 20, 30-ish minutes past our house and realized that we did not leave a key for her.
Oh, man.
And there was no way that we could just be like, the dogs will be fine.
Yeah.
For
the whole day.
That be like 18 hours. Because we left at 5. We weren't getting back till 8.
Something like that.
So then we had to turn around and drive to her house and leave the keys in her mailbox, which added about an hour onto our excursion. So we didn't actually leave until like 6:30.
So 7.
That's why I laughed when you said 7.
Because it pretty much was.
Yeah, so we got up there later. That was my fail. My win is the kids actually did really good in the car. On the way there, they slept a little over halfway. And on the way back, it was only about the last 30, 40 minutes where they were really like screaming, I want to get out of the car. I don't want to be in here anymore. Which I would say is a win. And also Maverick had no accidents the whole time.
Yes, Mav.
Yes. On the way back, there was a point where we literally stopped because everybody had to pee. Maverick said, no, I don't have to pee. We tried to get him to try. He was not having it. So we were like, whatever. Literally like 10 minutes down the road, he's like, I have to pee. So then we pulled over. We let him go pee. And then another 10 minutes down the road, I have to poop. Oh my God, we're almost home. We were literally on like the last stretch.
Oh no.
The last stretch. I'm just like, come on. So we found another rest area and pulled over, and man, did he poop. Like TMI, but it was like a foot-long poop.
Oh God.
And I was like, I'm really glad we made it, because he was to the point in the car, he was like, Mom, I have to poop. I'm like, we're going.
Oh,
Michael's
gosh.
like reaching 90 miles per hour, like trying to get us there. And I'm like, don't get us pulled over because that'll take 10 times longer.
That's when you told the officer, like, come with me. My kid's about to shit themselves. I will pull over at the rest stop.
Literally.
We'll deal with it when we get there.
And then for the last like maybe 10, 15 minutes, Quincy was just screaming, crying at the top of her lungs. And so we had so much shit in the back seat with them in like the middle thing. But I climbed back there and I'm just like half laying on all this pile of stuff. My feet are still like kind of in the front. And the only thing that I can do to get her to calm down is to sing The Grinch, You're a Mean One.
Oh God.
Over and over and over.
You're a mean one. Mr. Grinch. I'm just envisioning you laying across your fucking center console.
It was so rough. And then Maverick's like, Mommy, sing me this song. And so I'd sing whatever song he was asking for. And then Quincy would start wailing again. I'm like, you're a mean one. And I'm just like, oh my God, Michael, get us home right now.
I'm just literally envisioning you laying across there, butt in the air, just driving down the highway.
And Michael's still speeding. And I was like, Michael, I don't have a seatbelt on. Please do not get pulled over. This is double the ticket right now. Like,
You'll
just
fly out. feet first, just gone.
Oh my God. It was a little hectic there at the end.
Reverse Superman right there.
But for that long in the car, I mean, kudos to the kids. They did pretty freaking good.
Mm-hmm. Because that's like, what, 8-10 hours?
9 hours. Well, 10 because we had an extra hour in the morning.
Right.
And we had a lot of stops. But overall, I think it went well. It was just a little wild at the end. And I was like...
It sounds wild.
Yeah. I feel like at the beginning of those kinds of trips, you're always like, pumped. This is going to go good. Mm-hmm. Everybody's going to be fine. We're leaving early enough that they'll nap for this long. Blah, 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 blah. And then at the end of the trips, you're always like, never again.
Mm-hmm. Day trips are one of the things that I typically avoid at all costs. Because it's one of those things that's like, you run the risk of things not going as planned. And like for especially the younger kids, you know, you have to worry about like, am I packing enough diapers for the entire day for the ones that are still in diapers?
Right.
You know, are we going to have enough rest stops for the ones that need to be able to go pee? Realistically, are there even enough rest stops between here and there?
Right. And I don't think it's technically legal to just like pull over on the side of the road and let your kid pee. I think that's like public indecency or something.
It probably is, honestly, but I mean, realistically,
what officer is going to be like, I'm ticketing you for letting your 3-year-old piss on the side of the road? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I feel like any officer that in that moment doesn't just offer to like hold up a jacket for you.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that officer.
Like, come on. I mean, ugh. But that is the worst, is when they say I have to pee, especially when they're like freshly potty trained.
Yes.
And
you never know.
Yeah. And you've taught them, listen to your body when you have to pee, like go pee. And so when they say I have to pee and you're like, cool, we're 10 minutes away from a rest stop. Mm-hmm. Okay, you gotta hold it. And then you get home and then they start to hold it and then they have accidents. Maverick today has already had like 2 accidents.
Oh, man. Because
then he like gets it in his head that, oh, I can hold it because I'm in the car and I can hold it. And it throws things off for him. But yeah, there's not a lot of rest stops the way that we go, but there are a few towns, so like we'll have to pull off to a McDonald's. But then a lot of times when you have to pull off to a town, it's not just right off the road. You have to drive kind of a little bit, not far, but like it adds a few minutes. It does. Whereas a rest area is literally right off the road.
Right there.
So I think we stopped at every rest area option. And on the way there, we probably stopped like 5 times, maybe 4. Mm-hmm. On the way back, it was like 7. Because of those extra like, nope, gotta pee, nope, gotta poop.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and that's the hard part. We haven't done a day trip yet since Damon's been potty trained. But I remember our first one with Anna. I think we decided to go to the beach or something. Mm-hmm. And I was nervous the whole drive to the beach.
Yeah.
Because I was like, am I going to be able to make it with there? Because I think it was not super long after we had Damon, I think. We went to one of the beaches somewhere. I want to say we actually decided to go to La Push. Yes, that La Push. That is a very long drive from the Tacoma area.
Oh.
That is a very long
Isn't it like up in the tippy top?
Yes. So, you know, Washington kind of has that like bit that goes off and then there's like the bay, whatever, and then it goes up in Canada, right? And then eastern, whatever.
Right.
Seattle's kind of like with that divot up here. Tacoma is literally at the bottom of that divot.
Right.
La Push is all the way up in that.
Oh, okay.
Up in the corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking all the way several hours.
I'm pretty sure it's like a 6-hour drive.
Man.
And so we did that.
And that was a day trip?
That was, yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah. You have to plan for those because we used to do those every single year for my birthday, starting when I was like, I think the first year we did it was my 13th birthday.
Okay.
And then we just did it every year for the next couple of years. Because my birthday's in August. So great time to go to the beach. Especially because Washington beaches, cold.
Yeah. Same
Especially
Oregon.
northern Washington, up towards Canada. It's
Probably
cold.
even colder, yeah.
When, they go to the beach in the movie and they're all like wearing jackets.
That's for a reason.
Even in the summer.
Yeah.
But so we did that. It was a fun idea. There's this stretch where there is just no rest stops for like 2 hours, and it's not a good idea. I think she made it just fine, but it was nerve-wracking that entire time.
Right.
I'm pretty sure we actually brought her toilet with us. Yeah. So, like, worst case, I guess you're just
going in the back. Yeah.
And then we'll dump it out the window.
Yeah. We did that one time when we went on a day trip. We brought his toilet. But then it's kind of like, I mean, if it's pee, yeah, it's easy to just take care of.
And poop, not so much.
I remember we stopped at this, like, it wasn't a rest area. It was like a outlook. Like people are trying to enjoy the scenery. And Maverick took a big old poop. And I was like, what do I do with this? Like, I don't want to just leave it in the car with us. And it's just back here loose. Like,
just stinking up a storm.
And so I think this is so gross, but I think I scooped it out.
Like, I'm taking a drink. Give me a second. I'm going to laugh.
And put it just like over the little edge of the little cliff thing.
just plop. Is what it is.
I was like, I mean, animals poop here, so thankfully it wasn't that much. But
yeah,
I felt so awkward. My mom's like, "What are you gonna do? Just walk in front of all these people and go dump it?" And I was like, I mean, yeah, I am. Do you want it in your Jeep? Because we had our Jeep that time. And she's funny. Like, no, I don't. And I said, well, then that's what I'm gonna do.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. I feel like that's a good idea in theory.
It is.
But then you still have to find a spot to pull over.
You do.
And on like freeways, it's not always easy.
No.
At all.
No. And there are some freeways that don't even have a shoulder.
Yeah.
Like to speak of. It just is non-existent.
Right.
And not to mention that you aren't always on freeways.
Right. You know, could be on back roads or whatever. Yeah.
I mean, they might technically be classified as a freeway. But it's like the most low-level freeway you can possibly get. Road is just wide enough for 2 cars. Yeah. There is no guardrail. It's just grass or dirt on either side.
Yeah, it's like an old one.
Yeah. Yeah. Because that was when we lived in Montana, we used to live in a really small town in Hot Springs, and we would have to travel back and forth between Hot Springs and Kalispell. It's not a long drive, about 45 minutes, whatever. But if you've ever driven that highway or it's not even a freeway, it's a highway, whatever. It is, it's just a road.
Okay.
That you go 120 miles an hour on.
Yeah.
But that's all it is. It's just that road, but it's considered a highway.
Yeah.
You know? Which I don't even really know the difference between a highway and a freeway, realistically. Certain things that I wouldn't necessarily consider a highway, because I think of highway as like a fast road, right?
Yeah.
But
I think a freeway is just a bigger highway, and you can go faster. Because typically highways are like 55, 60. And then freeways are usually like 60, 70.
I'm pretty sure this specific road.
This is not like what we're actually driving, but this is the recommended.
Yeah, I think
posted mileage.
The posted
speed
on the road. I'm pretty sure the posted speed on this highway was like 80.
Okay, yeah.
And so for me, that freeway
sounds like
speed.
A freeway, yeah.
But it doesn't look or behave like a freeway.
Right. Weird.
I also think it's really weird when freeways have stoplights. That throws me.
That's always very confusing. It always kills me when you're driving freeway speed, 80, and then it's like light ahead. And you're like,
yeah. You're like, I have to
when?
now
Where?
go to 0.
How much time? How much notice will I have? I think I prefer day trips when there's no like set in stone time that you need to be there. There's no set in stone time when you need to leave. Like we take day trips to the coast a lot. We do it a lot less now, but we used to do it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like hour and a half, 2 hours from here. And that's not terrible compared to that. But when there's no rush. But yeah, I think it's nice when you can take a day trip and there's nothing rushed about it.
Yeah.
Like I find that usually the ride home is one, the worst because you're already tired of being in the car. But 2, you can typically take a little bit more time coming home. Like the stops, you're not really, come on, we have to hurry. We got to get there on time. You know, kind of a thing. But it makes it more enjoyable, I guess, when you don't have to rush. I hate when we're like trying to rush somewhere and I'm like, Maverick, you have to hurry. Like, we got to go. We got to go. And like, he's seeing so many new things and he just wants to like look around at all this new stuff. But I'm like, we don't have time for this. Come on. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, because where you guys went yesterday, you probably had to be there at a certain time or like a goal certain time to be there.
Yeah. They weren't eating until noon, but everybody was getting there around like 10, maybe a little sooner. Well, we also wanted to bring something, so we stopped at the Costco there. So then we took even longer, and my mom was there already because she left. Well, we were supposed to leave roughly at the same time, but obviously you heard about my delay. And so she texted me. She's like, "We're about to play bingo, but we're waiting for you." And I'm like, "I'm sorry, we're like 10 minutes away." Oh, it just makes it more stressful.
It does. And day trips are always just, they are more stressful, especially if like the further you have to go in this day trip, obviously the worse. Because like one, the travel both ways,
being
just
in the car that long,
ridiculous. But then the amount of time that you have between gets shorter.
Yes. And for us, it was basically like we were in the car for twice as long as we were there.
Yeah.
And so it sucks because you feel like you're not there for a very long time, but you also, at least for me, usually it's a family thing and I don't want to miss out on it.
Exactly.
And then also on the other side of things, I feel like, you know, sometimes it is nice to stay there so you can spend a little bit longer, but I will admit being able to just come home into your own bed is so nice.
It is.
Makes it worth it.
It does. Would you say that day trips are more or less stressful than overnight trips?
Almost less. Because you know you're coming home, so you don't have to like prepare for multiple days worth of stuff. As much. Yeah. But a little bit more because everybody's just tired of being in the car.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Like I feel like when you go on a trip and you know you're going to stay the night somewhere and you don't have to get back in the car, you kind of have a sense of relief of like, oh,
you can kind of like actually relax.
Yeah, but then you're also in a different place. You have to remember to pack all these things. Whereas when you know you're going home, you're like, well, at least, you know, I just have to pack snacks and enough diapers and a change of clothes, you know, and then we can just get home and we can make real food and whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree.
I feel like day trips are, you know, good for when you want to do things, but you don't really have the money to like stay anywhere.
Yeah.
Because hotel rooms, even like the cheaper end, they're usually around $100 with all the fees and everything. If you want a semi-decent, not like a super run-down motel. They
were doing crack in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Never changed the sheets between the last 4 guests.
Yeah, exactly. It's around probably $100 a night. And you don't always want to spend that, especially when you're just going to get up and leave first thing in the morning. Like you're literally only doing it to sleep there. It's a lot of money for just one night's sleep.
It is.
When you can just spend another $60 in gas that you're already going to have to spend and just go home.
Yeah. But exactly. Because I mean, it's not really spending an extra $60. You, like you said, you were already going to
spend it. Yeah. So, but we'll keep doing day trips because my mom's side of the family lives, like I said, 4.5, 5 hours away.
But it gets easier as they get older.
Yeah.
And they can be distracted by different
things.
They learn to hold their pee better and communicate that better. And those kinds of things. They can wait without screaming about food.
Right.
If you're lucky and don't have an Anna.
You can reason with them usually a little bit more.
Apparently not at 6 years old.
Oh.
Because I can't even do that at home.
Oh.
Speaking of day trips, the next day is always an adjustment.
Yes.
If you can hear the child screaming, which you probably can, she's probably tired and trying to readjust to being back at home.
And when they're little, they want to be held by mom, and so or dad, whoever. But so when they're in the car and they have like no physical contact, and they're like the next day they're like clinging to you.
Yes, such a long time to be without that physical contact. Especially if it's something that like they're used to.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah. But love that.
Yeah. Love that.
Love that for us.
Love that when I don't have things that I have to do.
Yeah. Like if we can just be laying on the couch and hanging out, that's one thing.
Snuggles.
But then it obviously bites you in the butt in moments where you just can't for whatever reason.
Like today I have to go grocery shopping.
Yep.
So we're all going to get back in the car and go grocery shopping. Wish me luck.
Fun. You enjoy that.
Yeah, but there's our little tidbit on day trips.
Don't really have a whole lot of advice. Every kid is different.
Yeah.
Some kids will need more, some kids will need less on day trips. I mean, kind of the same thing with our episode on traveling with kids.
Yeah.
Is there any closing remarks you want to give to the audience about day trips?
Don't forget the snacks. That would be my only advice. Don't forget the snacks that they like, because unless you want to be pulling over and spending money every time.
Oh yeah, and that gets McDonald's. Very expensive.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. Well, we hope you guys have a good rest of your day. We will see you next week. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next one.
See you next one on Christmas. Nope. I mean, hold on.
We will see you guys on the next one.
See you next week.
Bye.
Peace out, Girl Scout.